All right, and we are live.
All right, good morning, everyone. I'd like to call this meeting of the Committee of Adjustment for Tuesday, March 14th, 2023 to order. The first item of business is to disclose any conflicts or pecuniary interests in what we're talking about today. Are there any from any of the members? None indicate. Thank you. Next item is the minutes from the last meeting, which was January 27th of this year. Any comments, questions regarding those minutes from the members?
No, none for myself.
All right, then I'd ask for a motion to approve those minutes.
Yeah, motion to approve.
All in favor? Passed. All right. Moving on to the main reason we're here today. That's the application regarding 13 King Street West in Millbrook, minor variance application MV02-23. I'd like to turn it over to Karen Ellis to discuss the application.
Thank you, Chairman Semple. Welcome, members of the committee and those in attendance to the meeting. Today's public meeting is about a minor variance for 13 King Street West in Millbrook. 13 King Street West is an existing lot of record. It's currently developed with a single detached dwelling. The owner of the property wishes to convert that dwelling to a medical clinic for use as a chiropractic clinic. As such, a minor variance is required to permit one aspect of the development, which is a narrower driveway than what is permitted in the zoning bylaw. So I'm going to get clear, so please be patient. So as I said, we did receive a minor variance application. That application was supported with a planning letter to justify the appropriateness of the application and a concept plan of how the property would be developed. In addition to the minor variance application, the township has received a site plan approval application. That application was supported with the submission of a traffic brief, stormwater management report, and a site plan. All of that information is available in the township's planning department or available upon request, but that information has also been used in the review of the application before the committee today. The property at 13 King Street West is about 0.166 hectares in size, or 0.41 acres. As I've said, it is developed with an existing single detached dwelling. That proposal is to convert that to a chiropractic clinic. In addition to the clinic, the construction of a new parking lot is being proposed, and I know that there's been some work done in the parking lot already, but the approvals are not yet in place for that. With the parking lot, there needs to be a driveway that provides two-way access to that parking lot. And in the zoning bylaw today, the requirement is that that driveway access be a minimum of 6 meters wide for two-way traffic. With the location of the existing single detached dwelling relative to the property line on the west side, and with the existence of some existing mature trees, obtaining a driveway width of 6 meters for the full length of the driveway is not possible. So that's why the owner of the property has applied for the minor variance. The proposed minor variance would reduce the width of the driveway from 6 meters wide to 4.5 meters wide. The property is zoned commercial mixed use 2. So the medical clinic is a permitted use in that zone. The lot area and lot frontage requirements are satisfied. They do meet the standard requirements in the zoning bylaw. All of the other requirements of the zoning bylaw are met by the proposed development plan for the property. So the variance affects the width of the driveway only. As per the requirements of the Planning Act, notice of this application was circulated to all assessed persons within 60 meters or 200 feet of the subject property. A sign was posted on the front of the property. Notices were provided to the required ministries and agencies by first-class prepaid mail and by email, and the application was circulated internally to management staff at the township. At the time of writing of the report before the committee, we had received comments from the management of the township, and everybody here indicated that they have no objections to the minor variance. Since the writing of the report, we did receive agency comments from the Otonabee Region Conservation Authority. And in those comments, Orica has indicated that the property is partially within a floodplain associated with Cabin Creek. Proposed new development related to this minor variance is located outside of any known natural hazards. It is the opinion of Otonabee Conservation staff that the application is consistent with section 3.1 of the provincial policy statement. They've also indicated that Otonabee Conservation mapping shows the proposed new development falls within their regulated area. Work has commenced on site prior to ORCA permits being issued. A compliance permit will be required from the authority for the new development. And lastly, the authority has confirmed that the subject lands are not located in a vulnerable area as per the source protection plan. In terms of public comments, there were no comments in person or via email directly to the planning department, but a property owner to the east of 13 King Street West did provide an email to the deputy clerk of the township. And those comments express some concerns with the proposed variance. They are inquiring about privacy screening between the parking lot and their property. They've talked about lighting and the effects on their property. They've asked us to respect the fact that the property at 11 King Street West is a heritage designated property, and that should be respected when we are considering the minor variance. And they've also asked about the environmental protections for the creek at the rear of the property. So those comments have been addressed in the planning report before the committee, but I can speak to them a little bit today, just to give you a little more technical information in terms of the environmental considerations. The stormwater management report has been prepared and submitted to the township for review as part of the site plan approval application. That site plan approval application is also being reviewed by Otonabee Conservation staff and Peterborough County Public Works staff. Township staff have indicated that the stormwater management plan adequately addresses quality and quantity parameters of stormwater management. We are waiting to hear back from Otonabee Conservation about that part of the site plan approval application. You will see in the recommendations to you as the committee that privacy screening be installed at the east end of the proposed parking area. The privacy screening was not deliberately specified because there are different ways to screen the parking lot from the adjacent lands. You could do it through vegetation, you could do it through a solid board fence, you could do it through like fence panels. A site visit that I completed last week indicated that the property at 11 King Street West already has some screen panels on their own property, so it may be something that we could talk to them about how to make the best use of the screening opportunities available. So having said all of that, based on a review of the application together with the zoning bylaw regulations in place today, with the official plan policies and the planning framework in terms of the growth plan, the provincial policy statement, etc. The recommendation to the committee today is that you review and consider all verbal and written comments received regarding this application. And secondly, that the application be approved with the following conditions. Firstly, that privacy screening be installed at the east end of the proposed parking area. Secondly, that the property be developed in accordance with the site plan accepted by the Township of Cavan-Monaghan. And lastly, that all required permissions and permits from Otonabee Conservation be obtained prior to the initiation of site works. And I will leave it at that, and I am pleased to entertain any questions.
Thank you, Karen. Any questions or comments from the members regarding this application? Paul or Aaron, did you have anything to to add or any comments regarding this?
Yeah, I guess I'll go ahead first if that's okay. Chairman
Go
Simple.
ahead, Aaron.
So I understand that the privacy screening is requested on the eastern portion. Was there any thought or consideration to the western portion, if that's going to be impacted as well too? I noticed on the site plan that there was some suggested trees being put in. I guess is the assumption that that's going to provide an adequate buffer on the western portion?
Through you, Chairman Semple, to Member Glover. Yes, so there is an existing tree line along the west side of the parking lot. They are mature coniferous trees. So it does provide an existing buffer for the parking lot. Then there's some additional trees to be planted at the front, on the front west side of the property. You can see them on the site plan. So it was felt that that natural vegetated buffer provided an adequate screening. We did not hear from the property owners on the west side of the property requesting any additional screening. But if that's something that the committee feels is appropriate, it's something that the condition could be amended to include the provision of privacy screening on both the east and west sides.
Thank you, Karen. Any other questions or comments from members?
I'll just add to, you sort of answered my question there, as I just wondered if there was any concern from the property owner to the west, but you've indicated you've not heard from them, so that answers that question.
Thank you, Aaron. Any other questions or comments from the members?
Just Paul here, Mr. Chairman. I just noticed that the property has two residential properties on either side of this for this proposal. And I'm just wondering if the fact that this is going to be a business and a health clinic, the amount of traffic, if that has been raised as a bit of a concern for neighbors, and it doesn't sound like it has been.
Through you, Chairman Semple, to Member Paul. Traffic has not been raised as an issue. A traffic brief has been provided to the township as part of the site plan approval process, which is being reviewed and considered by Peterborough Public Works Department. I can tell you, just to kind of fill out your local knowledge of what's happening in this neighborhood. At the time the township did their new official plan, we recognized the fact that Millbrook itself is our primary business area, but the downtown is very small. There was not a lot of opportunity to provide additional space for business offices, medical clinics, small boutique kind of things, restaurants. So at that time, through lots of public consultation and discussion, it was decided that we would expand the potential for some smaller scale commercial and institutional medical clinics, personal service shops, to expand into the western side of Hay Street, Union Street. And so that area has been designated core. So which means the range of uses is a little bit broader than strictly residential. So it was the intention of the township that you would see some transition of this area over time into having a little more business associated with it. So this, to be quite honest, is really our one of the first forays into seeing that official plan policy be implemented through zoning and a change of use.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you, Karen. Any other comments or questions from the members? Sorry, go ahead. None? All right. Just to clarify, if I understand it correctly, all we're being asked to do is to approve the narrowing of the driveway. Everything else that they're proposing is already permitted. Is that correct?
To you, Chairman Semple, and members of the committee, that is correct. The variance applies to the width of the driveway only. Everything else complies with the zoning bylaw requirements in place today.
Right. So the second item on the recommendations regarding the site plan, they would have to do that anyway, would they not?
Yes.
Yes. All right. Thank you very much. Are there any other questions or comments arising from that from members?
No.
If not, then I would ask for a motion to approve the application with the.
Excuse me, Chairman.
Thank you. Through
Right.
you, I do have 2 members of the public
Well,
in
sorry.
attendance. That's okay.
Yeah.
So if I can get those listening, if you would wish to speak, just raise your hand and then I can advise our chair if you are wishing to speak at this time.
Thank you.
Okay, and so I do have Amanda raising her hand first. And so the Amanda is from DM Willis. So Amanda, just one moment, I will promote you. Okay, so Amanda, you should be able to speak.
Good morning, committee members.
Good morning, Amanda.
Let
Thank
me
you for
just
joining.
adjust my settings here. It changed everything on me. Exit full screen. Okay, there we go. Good morning. Thank you for having us. So my name is Amanda Timmermans. I'm a land use planner with DM Wills, and we are representing the property owner for this application. Karen did a wonderful job of summarizing the application and what our intention is. So I just wanted to provide a little bit more background in terms of our site planning process, just for the committee members' comfort and you know, more information to make your decision. So as Karen mentioned, the proposed use of the medical clinic is permitted in both the official plan and the zoning bylaw. Since the change of use required site alteration to install a longer driveway and the small parking lot, the development was subjected to the site plan control process. So we have submitted multiple applications now. So applications were required from the township for the change of use permit, the sign permit, the site plan application, as well as from the County of Peterborough for the entrance permit onto the county road, and also the Conservation Authority for the development within the regulated area, and also the compliance issue that Karen also mentioned. There's no alterations at all required to the building to accommodate the change of use. It's just the parking facilities that are required. So as a reminder, and thank you, Mr. Chair, for clarifying that we are only talking about the widening of the driveway today. The site plan development as a whole is being reviewed by township staff, county staff, as well as the Conservation Authority staff, as well as all of the additional studies and reports that we submitted to support that application. So during our site plan process, we did aspire to maintain as much of the vegetative cover as possible in order to keep that buffer to the neighboring property from any impacts on the development. We recognize this is a pretty residential area. However, with the intent of the zoning bylaw and the official plan policies for growth in that downtown Millbrook area, it is permitted uses, and we're trying to make those kind of mixed uses live or habitate peacefully, I guess. So it is a pretty minor variance we're seeking. So 6 meters is the requirement in the bylaw. We're requesting a 4.5 meter width, and that's really just beside the building itself. I'm not sure if whoever's ever controlling the thing can just pop up the site plan, just so that we can kind of see where what I'm talking about a little bit here. But so right next to the building itself, there's a little like a stairway that is an emergency exit out the side of the building. The main entrance will be to the rear, and it'll be faced by the parking lot. So there won't be a whole lot of impacts from the street. Just the way we wanted to design that site to make sure we kind of keep those any impacts so that the use is going to be compatible with the neighboring properties and the existing uses there. The variance is just, can you put up the site plan, the one with the yellow? Because we've highlighted where the variance is in relation to the kind of the whole site. alteration that's happening. So the parking lot is located to the rear, again, to minimize those impacts on the street, keep access lighting, all of that stuff to the rear of the property so that it's not impacting to the sides with lighting. There was a question about that earlier. So the 4.5 meters is really just beside the building, and then it widens out to 6 meters, and then the 7.2 meter requirement for the entrance onto the county road. And then again to the rear to that 6 meter point as you kind of come down. That's quite a bit of a grade there. So there was a significant amount of engineering put into designing the driveway and the grades so that the water can flow properly and not have any impacts on the neighboring properties or the creek to the rear. Traffic study was also conducted in order to confirm the sizing and design of that entrance onto the county road. The study did find that based on the traffic counts for the proposed use, that the daily trips would be very minimal and not have any impact on the street or neighboring properties. And because it is a clinic, it's not constant kind of coming and going. It's fairly like spaced out. People have appointments and that kind of thing. So we have kind of taken all of that into consideration in the design, and we believe that it really is a minor deviation from the zoning bylaw, given that everything else kind of conforms with the zoning regs, as well as the official plan policies and the intent of growing the downtown area and having more mixed use along King Street on the way out of town there. So it is our opinion that the proposed minor variance does meet those 4 tests that you guys are tasked with satisfying under the Planning Act, as well as constitutes some good planning. I do have some more information if the committee members have questions regarding the heritage aspects. I am a heritage planner working towards my designation as a professional heritage planner. So I do have quite a bit of experience in terms of evaluating developments against the attributes related to heritage properties, heritage designated properties, and cultural heritage landscapes. And quite frankly, a variance this small is not going to have much impact on a built heritage property. It was a little bit difficult for this one because the bylaw is so old. There's not a significant amount of detail in the bylaw that specifies any heritage attributes that we're really trying to conserve here. So given that, you know, the variance is on the opposite side from the heritage designated building, I really don't think that there's going to be any impacts to the heritage character or attributes that are specific, I'm assuming, to the built nature of that house there. So traffic concerns we talked about, and the privacy fence, the property owner has no issue with that condition, and I believe has already spoken with the property owner in terms of what they want to see there in terms of privacy screening. So that is something that they're more than willing to accommodate in order to get in there kind of as soon as possible. I will note the one question from a committee member about privacy screening on the east side. We did look at that as an option, but there is a very old kind of fence bottom. It's very rocky along that property line there. So we've kind of indicated places where you can plant some more. Our intent is some coniferous trees because they do provide a little bit better screening in those areas. But one of the main intents of the variance, or of designing it with a variance that's required, was to maintain that kind of vegetative buffer that's already natural along that property line. So and then in terms of concerns with the creek and the floodplain, I do understand that some fill and alteration was done in the fall without authorization in the fall. That was right when we were kind of coming into the file and in providing advice to the client in terms of the applications that they're going to need and that kind of thing. So my understanding is all work has stopped and we are working with Orca in terms of the compliance. And so far we have not received any comments from the Conservation Authority However, I do understand that they're waiting for some indication from the township of whether they're going to approve the site plan application before they issue those compliance and development permits. So hearing nothing, we're going to proceed and hope that our water resources engineers know what they're doing over here and have designed a site that's not going to have any impacts on that creek or the neighboring properties in terms of stormwater or the floodplain. So that's all.
All right, thank you very much, Amanda, for your comments and clarification, especially pointing out that what we're being asked to do is very narrow. Pardon the pun, but
That's very
where we're narrowing the driveway is only as it goes by the building, and it's not narrow at the other end. Correct. It's just as it goes by the building. All right. Any questions or comments from the committee arising out of Amanda's comments?
None for me.
All right. Are there any other members of the public who wish to speak, Carolyn?
Thank you. Through you, Chair, I'll just ask that there is one more member of the public in attendance. If you wish to speak, if you can please raise your hand. And if you're choosing to do so, Amanda, I am going to move you back to an attendee. Okay, through you, Chair, I am not seeing any more hands. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much. That being the case, I would ask for a motion regarding this application to either approve or disapprove the application with the recommendations.
It's simple. I'll motion to approve with the conditions listed in the report.
All right, Aaron, a seconder.
I'm
Paul?
happy to second, yep.
All right, thank you. All in favor? Thank you. The application with the recommendations is passed. Thank you very much, everyone. That being all of our business for this morning, I would ask for a motion to adjourn. Paul, thank you
Yep.
very much. We are adjourned. Thank you very much, everyone.
Okay.